What's going on, everyone? This is Matt, Squeaky Clean Air, and today we're going to be bagging Corolla, Paul's Corolla. Nice OEM. Check it out.
Just trying to give you something spooky I'll do for you. I'm just trying to give you something. I'm just trying to give you something spooky I'll do for you. I'm just trying to give you something.
Okay, so we have Paul's mint Corolla on the lift. We're going to be putting in the air suspension, also doing a custom trunk setup with some starlight fiber optic stuff. So I'll show you guys how to do that. I think he got the 370 light kit, so we're gonna do the trunk setup with it. It's gonna be pretty cool. You're not gonna find a mintier Rolla in Ontario. That's 100% for sure. Paul's car is amazing. I'm gonna tag him with his Instagram. You guys definitely follow him. There's a lot of really cool stuff on this car that you will not see anywhere, including a Euro spec rear trunk, which is, this is not a common trunk on these models. So this is a Euro trunk that's made to fit on a North American car, which is quite amazing. A lot of parts on this car came from Europe, came from Russia. So that's why he is running a Russian plate. Beautiful car. I can't wait to start working on it. I already removed the front wheels and the rear wheels. I mean, this thing's meant, right? Really, Paul really takes care of it. It is running case for coilovers. The problem is that even though I do recommend a lot of my customers to do conversions through us, obviously, because there's a lot of conversion kits out there on the internet that you can purchase, and a lot of people that did not know about us did get taken advantage of. And a lot of these companies that sell you these conversion kits, they just sell you a conversion kit and paint you a beautiful picture that everything works right out of the box. It doesn't. You do want to work with somebody that is able to actually convert your coilovers into air struts, which is what we do. We specialize in this kind of stuff. But anyways, in this case, to convert his case for coilovers, it's a little bit hard. And the reason why it's hard is because if you guys can look at this air strut, especially for the Toyotas, it is a specially type forged upper mount that's fused with a bag. And the reason being is you can't just put a universal bag on the case port coilovers. And the reason why that is because the bag will sit over here, but it's not, because this whole piece over here, and I've explained that in my previous Toyota video, is on top of the spring. It will not work. You cannot just put an air spring and then reuse the OEM mount for these styles of coilovers. The mount has to be specifically fused to the bag. So the conversion kits for the coilovers for the Toyotas are very complicated. It's not as simple as slapping this bag on the shock. And the reason why that is because the shock inside here has been modified to fit with this bag. The bag sits a lot lower than what the shaft of the shock is done. So there's some custom modifications that are done for air struts that we do in order to make a properly sitting air strut that works for this car. So it's not as easy as like, oh yeah, I'm just going to bag my car, blah, blah, blah. There's experience in suspension. That's the reason why we are in the suspension game, is because we have experience. But I'm trying to tell you guys that it's not as easy as getting a conversion kit for the case per coilovers, because it has to be a specific air strut that works for these Toyota cars. So that's why we're going to remove these case ports. We're going to put in the Squeaky Clean Air coilovers, Squeaky Clean Air air struts, and this car is going to be laying frame. And yeah, so can't wait to start working on it, and stay tuned. All right, just striding along with this Toyota, with Paul's Toyota. Fronts are in, Beauty, direct fit. It's a little bit of a workout when you're doing the fronts on these cars, is because the strut mounts are located underneath the cowl. I already did it, so I'm not really demonstrating it, but you got to remove the plastic cowl that's underneath the hood, and then there's like a metal cover. Well, remove the cowl, then remove the wiper motor that's located on this side. Then remove the metal base, and then that'll give you clear access to the upper mounts where you can remove them. It's pouring outside right now. It's crazy. It's making sound. So the fronts are in. Very simple. A McPherson suspension in the front. The rears are in. The rears, like I said, are very specific, as you guys can see here, because the bag is part of the mount. They sit down here. He's got a whole bunch of bracing from Ultra Racing, so I had to kind of modify it and put some spacers to move away the brace mount to mount the strut. But the strut is the air strut is connected. As you can see, there's a solid beam. So what happens with solid beam cars is when the car airs out, basically the wheel gets a little closer to the edge. It's very common with the Hyundais as well. The Elantras have that issue. The Kias have that issue as well. It's anything that has a solid beam. What will end up happening is the suspension will shift there. So what happens is, a lot of the times when you guys go to car shows, when a lot of these Toyotas are aired out, the wheel is mostly in this section over here, and there's a little bit of a gap here. It's because the whole suspension has a tendency to shift like that, so the air out sort of close to the perimeter over here and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. So I'll show you guys when I put this on the ground. I'm going to run the lines now. I stripped the interior panels because we're going to be doing Starlight headliner. Well, we're going to do starlights in these panels. I was going to do also the front panel to cover his suspension, because his air suspension management, well, you can hear the lightning. His air suspension management is going to be on the back seats. I'm going to do it in a way where it's elevated above the brace, because he wants to keep the Ultra Racing brace. It's a cool looking brace. Ultra Racing is one of these companies that you really don't hear very much about, but they make almost every single brace you could possibly think of for vehicles out there. I was going to pick up some Ultra Racing products from my GS, and they have a lot of stuff for Civics in almost every single vehicle, so they're pretty cool. There's one of these companies not a lot of people know about, but they're out there when you're looking for strut braces. And signature color that they have stuff in is the white. I love the white. That's why I changed the color of my GS from blue to white. But anyway, so we're gonna run the lines. Very easy to run the lines, is because these cars have vents on both sides, so it's a perfect way to do it. I know a lot of guys and girls like to run the lines by drilling holes through here and blah blah blah. Why go through all the extra headaches and compromising your factory car and drilling holes in here, especially where this is where most of the time, you know, water will seep into and deposit underneath your spare wheel, and then it'll rot it out. So it's easier just to run the lines on the vents. Also, if you want to remove the air suspension in the future, it's really easy to remove it if it's there, so your lines are not all over the place. So we're going to do that. So we're going to do the fronts, the rears, and we're going to chisel on. And hopefully on the next video, I'll show you guys how this car looks on static air. So wish me luck.